Hey everybody, what's up? I want to talk about something you should be very, very, very cautious of, and that's I'm just going to give you some advice to avoid you being taken advantage of. Because sometimes when you are sad or lonely and you're looking to place your heart somewhere else because maybe you've had a breakup or you lost someone or you're going through an estrangement of some sort, sometimes you don't know what to do with your heart, so you want to jump in and save the world or do your best to protect the vulnerable from being abused, etc. So I don't know about you, but I think people know I have a flock of birds. I have 8 birds and have known a lot of wonderful breeders, but I got pulled into something that I get pulled into stuff all the time where they'll tug at people will tug at my heartstrings and I don't I'm not one to say, well, I do this or I do that, but I try my best, especially throughout the holidays, to bring a little cheer into this world. And so recently, got into a group, and there was a woman who was homeless, an elderly woman with mental health issues, who was living on a bus stop. So, what do I do? What can I do for her? So I jumped in and tried to help as best as I could. But I find myself being very, very where my heartstrings, they play them like a violin. I'm telling you, I don't know if I'm a target because I have a heart and people know that I have a voice or a platform and they say, oh, Laura will take care of it. It's always, excuse me, it's always been the case. And so recently I was in this group for certain animals and someone mentioned the name of someone that's kind of dealing with a puppy mill situation or flipping animals, etc. And they said someone was looking for a certain type of animal, and other people said avoid so and so. And I said, yeah, I would avoid that person like the plague. And the next thing I know is I'm getting messages where people are saying, well, you should do something about it, and you should call so and so and file reports and get them for fraud and this and that. And finally I took a step back because my husband always says, you're too nice, you're too nice, you're people are always taking advantage of you. And when they kept saying you should do this and that, I finally said, well, what have you done? Have you called and filed reports regarding this person's extracurricular activity? They said, no, my friend and I, we just don't have time to. And I said, well, then my thought is, what why are you placing this on my shoulders to do something when you haven't even taken it started with A, much less gone to B or C, and you say do something about it, but what have you done? And that's the thing about people is there was a woman in a certain group and she like I said, she was living on the bus stop, so I went and I helped her. And then when they made a post about it, the next thing you know is someone said, well, I'd like to jump in line for help too. And I finally said, well, what kind of help do you need? And they're like, well, what business is it of yours? And I said, well, if you're looking for help, people need to know, do you need food or clothes or whatever? And finally that person said, well, y'all gave her a hotel room, why don't you help me? And so I said, well, where are you staying? And they told me. And I said, what name are you using? And she said, it's none of your business. And I don't, but the thing is people want you to help, but either they don't step up and help themselves or they just want a free handout. And there's a lot of us with good hearts that the Lonely Hearts Club that do want to help, that want to step up and make sure people aren't sleeping out on the streets and animals aren't being abused. But other people say, well, why don't you do something? Well, why don't we all do something? But I can't carry this myself. Absolutely not. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm limiting. I'll do it a night or two at a hotel, but I can't do a month. I just, well, no, I won't. I just won't because we as a community can come together, not just where one person's carrying the burden, but no, I'm not going to help people who absolutely not. So, anyways, be careful if you have a big heart because people will take advantage of that. So, anyways, that's all I've got, and I'll be back.